Quick shout out. This episode is brought to you by Property of God Clothing. Look good while doing good. That's a mission that lines up with everything we're about here on Leave It Better. Now let's get into it.
Welcome to Leave It Better. My dad says every person we meet leaves a mark on our lives, and every choice we make can leave a mark on the world. This is a space for hope, for love, and for stories that remind us we are all connected. So take a deep breath and let's leave it better together.
Hey, everybody. My name is Dwayne Daniels. This is the Leave It Better podcast, and I have a special guest today. His name is Kenneth E. Morris. I'm going to give you a quick introduction of who he is. I want you to think about something for a second. Think about the kid who grows up in a neighborhood where the ceilings feel low, where the world hasn't exactly sent the message that the sky belongs to them. Now imagine that same kid decides to fly anyway. Not just literally, though he does that too, but through every hard thing life threw at him. Through poverty, through service, through sacrifice, through moments where giving up would have made complete sense. That's the man I get to sit down with today. My guest is a United States Navy combat veteran, a commercial pilot, a TEDx speaker, an author, and one of the most intentional human beings I've come across in a long time. He's on a mission to make sure that every young person, regardless of where they come from, can look up in the sky and see themselves in it. His name is Kenneth E. Morris. Kenneth, welcome to the Leave It Better podcast.
Thank you, man. Great intro, man.
Thank you. So we'll get into the first question, man. Take me back to where it all started. Like, what was it life growing up like in the Fifth Ward? And what did the future look like for you?
You know, man, I tell people all the time, people that meet me for the first time, they think that I live near an Air Force base or an airport, or I knew pilots growing up, and it couldn't be further from the truth. You know, I in Fifth Ward, if you're from the South in any capacity, or Texas or New Orleans or anywhere like that, or Louisiana rather, you know, Fifth Ward is synonymous with crime and violence and just, during the crack epidemic. But on the flip side of that too, it's also rich in culture. Some great people that come from Fifth Ward, that's brilliant. So Barbara Jordan was from my neighborhood, one of the first Black female congresswomen, as well as Mickey Leland, Doris Foreman, the heavyweight champion of the world from Fifth Ward as well. So Joe Sample, who's a jazz hero to say the least. But these names, people come from where I came from, but they had to overcome a bunch of obstacles. And it was the same. I never thought about flying an airplane. I was terrified of heights, to be honest with you. I didn't think anything aviation related. I was only exposed to basketball and, criminal activities, football. Sports are entertainment. I can't sing, I can't dance, so I had to figure out something. So yeah, aviation saved my life.
Oh, man. Yeah, and you brought up an interesting point about, like the crack epidemic, right? And I grew up in that as well. Like, how did you navigate staying away from that, right? Because it's so easy to fall into those traps of everything that you just discussed, particularly in that era. How did you navigate that?
Honestly, I think it was basketball, having the right people around me. I was pretty good at basketball coming up, probably like one of the better ones in my neighborhood. So for the longest time, people just, hey, you need to focus on this, play sports and so forth. And it definitely helped me, got me to college on a basketball scholarship as well. But having the right people around me, even though I saw others succumb to drugs, not just friends and people that I didn't know, but even impacted our family. So just being blessed, God showed me a different way and put the right people around me. And that's why I could say I've never tried drugs. I've never been in that space to where, they altered my life.
Awesome, man. So when you talk about people being around you, that's a good lead question for me, because that's something I actually wanted to go into. Like, was there a moment or person or an experience that kind of helped shape and push you towards aviation, or even had you think that it was possible, right? Because a lot of things, like you just said, like if we're not exposed to certain things, exposure is like to me the biggest thing. But you don't know what you don't know until you're exposed to it, and you're like, oh wow, like this could be a possibility for me. Was there a person or a moment that did that for you?
Actually, I kind of have to reverse engineer the question because
Hmm.
the short answer is no. But the reason I got into aviation was because I scored really high on my military exam to go into the service,
Ah.
but I barely graduated high school, right? So the reason I barely graduated high school was because I was shooting dice. I was running with the wrong crowd. I'm
Mhm.
17, 18. I think I know everything, right?
Yeah, of
So
course.
I got it all figured out at 17. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was running with the wrong people, and I scored so high on my military exam that once I got downtown Houston to our MEP station, which is our processing station before we ship off to boot camp, a white guy, saw my test scores, and he saw my high school transcript, and they were so different. He thought that I cheated on the test.
Oh,
So
he's
yeah,
like, wait, something is up here, man. These things
yeah,
are
yeah.
not
So
matching up.
so they made me take the test again, right there at MEPS, which wasn't cool, but they gave me the same exact test, and I scored even higher on the second one because I really did study
Wow.
for it. Yeah, when I scored higher on the second one, that's when the aviation job became available. And, I had like 6 or 7 jobs that they put in front of me, being a cook, a
Hmm.
operation specialist, not highly technical jobs. But then when I saw
Hmm.
that job, I asked about it, and his words were 90% of the people that try this job fell out. It's a lot of swimming, involves a lot of flying, looking for submarines. I'd advise you to go be a cook. Coming from Fifth Ward, though, yeah, where I'm from, you tell me not to do something, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Right.
So
That's a go to go do it, right?
yeah, I now already tell me what to do. So yeah, to this
Yeah.
day, I tell people, man, I did not have any posters of the wall of Tuskegee Airmen or Bessie Coleman, or I
Wow.
had no clue. But this white guy, told me I was going to fail out of school if I went, and I took it as a challenge.
Ah, that's great. Man,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
amazing. So, but you were in the Navy, right? So why the Navy? Like did you choose the Navy? Was it just, you tested high, or was that by design?
Yeah, they were the only branch to come to my school. I lived in a school,
Okay.
yeah. No other branches even came to my high school. Only the Navy came.
Wow.
And the way I met my recruiter, I was actually skipping school one day, or getting ready to skip school. And when he was coming out, and he was the first person that I ever can, like, when I think back, that was a mentor for me. Right. So
Mm,
he didn't push the Navy on me. He was like, man, what are you doing? Why are you skipping
right.
school? What's your plans for the future? And I never really sat down and thought about it until I met him. So that's how I ended up going to the Navy. It could have been any branch that would have showed up that day, but he happened to be in the right place at the right time.
Wow. I always say things don't happen by accident, right? I think things always happen for a reason, the way they line up, the people you meet, they help shape you. But
Yeah.
it's telling that you met this guy, and I think at the right time, and that he didn't push it on you, right? I'm the same way. Like, even though we've come from different areas, I was born in the Bronx, New York. We still have that same attitude. Like, you tell me I can't do it, right? Yeah, and
Exactly.
it's beautiful that you were able to meet somebody that didn't push it on you. Because I think if he pushed it on you, then maybe
Yeah.
you might have been like, "No, I'm not doing this," right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. He just exposed me to it. We talked about that earlier. He just, hey, look, here are some options.
Yes, exposure.
I didn't feel like he tricked me into going or anything. He said, hey, man, there are some options, and I believe that you can do this. After that, it was off the rails.
Nice. You go to the Navy, right? And you're navigating that, and you're learning that. How was that for you? Like, as a black man, right? And going into the Navy, was that difficult for you?
It was eye opening. So
Hmm.
my job in the Navy was to fly around in somewhat of a secret airplane looking for submarines. So my
Mm,
job was to be in the back listening underwater for acoustic sound signatures, basically like the way
wow.
of this echolocation. I would use that
Uh-huh.
to find submarines from Russia, China, Pakistan, India, Korea, whatever. and make sure they don't come too close to the United States and do anything bad.
Wow.
So I told you I'm barely graduating high school. I'm from Fifth Ward in the urban area in Houston. I'd never even thought about submarines. That's the last thing on my mind.
Wow.
So, it's
Wow.
a new world for me, man. But with that though, I was blessed with another great support system. I'm the only
Mm.
black guy in the crew, all white guys, but they were
Wow.
the best guys, man. Like the best. They never made me feel any kind of way. I was
That's
18, so these
great.
guys were probably 30 at the time. So they were,
Hmm.
if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have gotten through all the things I got through. And that's the thing about the Navy. And I think the military too, is the camaraderie that you have with other people.
Right.
Going into the Navy, in boot camp, people think it's the worst thing in the world, but when I look back, it was probably the most fun time. It's a bunch of people who don't know what's happening. We're all trying to figure it out. Some people got
Yeah.
washed out, but overall, I think professionally, it was the best decision I've ever made. I still benefit from it to this day. Personally, it was probably the first time I'd been around people other than myself, different races,
Mm.
different cultures, and different nationalities. And it taught me to be a lot more um, patient and tolerant and
Mm.
understand because of communication, the language is a little different and so forth. But, and some people don't have the greatest view of the military, and I understand completely. But for me, the structure it provided, the time away from my neighborhood, which was, you
Yeah.
know, not doing the greatest, I needed that. I needed to be exposed to different opportunities. And, I was blessed to have the right people around me to guide me throughout that process. So for me, overall, the military was the right choice for me.
Yeah. Dad was in the military. He served the Vietnam War.
Awesome. Okay.
And I always feel like he didn't talk a lot about it with me. But I always felt like that was an escape from what his life was, in my
Yeah,
opinion. Because I know a lot about what he had went through as in his childhood. And I think, like you said, it gives you the opportunity to get out there and see something other than your neighborhood, right? And talk to other people and see how they live and give you perspective on everything. Like, and that was the beauty of, I think, for how I grew up in the Bronx, because it was such a melting pot. And I feel like that's what the military is too, as well. As you go and see other people, other countries, how they live, and you start coming back and thinking, man, I don't need all the stuff that I think I need, right? These people out here living with the most minimal things and are enjoying their life.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it was eye opening. And it just makes you appreciate pretty much everything even more.
Mm.
Even if you didn't have a lot, it makes you appreciate those things. But if you got a
Yeah.
supportive family and so forth, that's what it did for me. And I understand it's not like that for everyone. And,
Right.
we all have different walks and so forth. But I think it started with your attitude, mindset about it. If you're going in there with a positive mindset, like, how can I make the most of this instead of
Hmm.
forced to be here, then that changes how you receive the information that they're trying to give you. It changes how you receive the conversations and so forth. It's just how you're opening up your mind to start with.
Mm. Yeah. So when did you know? When did it click for you? Like, you know what? This could be something other than just the Navy.
Funny, man, the way it worked was I still remember Lieutenant Kashak. I'll never forget. I was getting promoted, and so the crew knows when you're going up to the next rank. And so we were overseas, though, during the wartime, and we fly for 10 hours at a time at least. So every time we take off, we're in the air for at least 10 hours. So it's a long, long flights, long day. But
Wow.
during this time, and again, I'm working in the back. I'm just grateful to be there. I'm like, hey man, I'm doing my thing. Then he called me on the radio. He said, hey man, you think you can fly the plane? I'm like, what?
we fly the
I
plane. Wait, hold up.
fly the happy sitting in the back. I never thought about it. Never crossed my mind. I'm thinking, okay, let me just do what I do, and then here I go. Here's another
Yeah.
opportunity. I'm from Fifth Ward, though, right? Yeah, I think I can
Yeah.
fly.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
I was terrified, terrified. Man. So, so he called me to the front, man. I'll never forget. I got in that right seat, he had the autopilot on for a while, and then he said,
Mhm.
all right, just do what I tell you, and then you'll be just fine. So he turned the autopilot off. He said, all right, I want you to turn to the left. And I started turning the plane to the left. And I just see this huge $40 million plane turning to the left. I'm like, oh,
Wow.
okay. Then, say, okay, I want you to turn right. So I did the same thing. So I see the
Wow.
plane right. And then say, I want you to pull back. So the plane started going up. Like, this is my first time ever touching the controls of a plane.
Wow.
$40 million military airplane. And it just did
Woo.
something. It did something to me. The fact that he believed in me, it's 10 other people in the back that believed in me. They were not tripping about me flying the plane. Usually when you get an introductory flight or a discovery flight before you become a pilot, you're in a little 4-seat Cessna. It may
Uh-huh.
cost, 100,000, 200,000. Here I am in a multi-million-dollar
Right.
military for my first time flying. But I knew at that moment I was going to become a pilot. I didn't know how I would get there. I didn't know how long it would
Mm,
take, but I knew that ultimately I was going to satisfy that goal. Yeah.
that was the moment.
Yeah, that was the moment.
Oh, nice. I think about how nervous I was just to drop a car when I was first learning. You up in the air with a plane. I was like, no, ain't no way I'm doing this. What?
I was I was thinking the
Oh, to
same
fly the
thing.
plane.
Ain't no
Mm-mm.
way.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, that is kudos to you, right? You saw the opportunity and you didn't run from it, right? You were like, all
Yeah.
right, let's do it. I'm scared. I'm gonna do it scared.
Yeah.
I try to tell my kids that as well. When my youngest is like, Daddy, I'm scared. And I always tell him, it's okay to be scared and do it. Right? You just gotta do it scared. And you did it scared, man. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. On the other side, man, it's been such a rewarding, man. I can't even quantify how rewarding it has been since then. Now, it hasn't been all great every day, of course not, but
Right.
working towards something and then like the doors that open, the networking that opens up.
Right.
I don't even tell people I'm a pilot when I introduce myself. If we get into a conversation, yeah, I work in aviation,
Yeah.
but when I talk about the piloting aspect, it just opens up so many other doors, which I'm grateful for. But yeah, it started from that moment.
Wow. That's amazing, man. A question for you, as being a veteran, and this is a
Okay.
question really I think kind of connects to my pops, to be honest. So I know a lot of veterans come home and struggle to translate what they gave into what comes next, right? So you get out the Navy, you're finished. Like, what did you know what came next for you, and how were you treated as a veteran? I feel like there's not enough being done for veterans that serve, this country. What was your experience?
I think you're 100% correct. And especially your dad, thank you for his service. Thank him for his service. Being in that time frame, it was even worse. I
Mm,
was a homeless veteran, right? A lot of people are unaware of
mm,
that. Like, actually homeless before I became a pilot.
wow.
Yeah, so I had to make a decision. And again, I still didn't resort to drugs or anything like that, but sleeping on family members' couch, right? So, and it wasn't because a lack of effort, it's because the skills that I had in the military looking for submarines. There are no submarines in Houston.
No,
So my,
right.
my skill set didn't equip me for the transition out.
Mhm.
So many places were saying,
Mm,
oh, which I wasn't a genius. So you're a genius. You're overqualified for this. $20 an hour job.
wow.
I can't get a job because you assume I'm overqualified, and then I didn't have a degree, so certain things I couldn't do, and it was tough. So that's
Mm,
how I ended up being a homeless veteran. And I will say, in Texas, though, I'm grateful to be here because they do take better care of their veterans than other places. But overall, I think never be a homeless veteran, never be a hungry veteran, one
nope.
that
I
needs
agree.
medical attention. I mean, you've been willing to sacrifice your entire life for the safety, well-being of this country, but don't have anywhere to live after you get out, or you're treated badly, racially profiled. I'll tell people all the time,
Yep.
even if I drive not, if I get pulled over by a police officer, being a pilot, being a veteran, being all over the news, I'm still nervous.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm still nervous, right? So, and it's not that I'm out here doing bad things. It's just the time that we're living in
It's,
right now is
yep.
just very hard. So being a veteran, I wish we could do so much more for them. I don't know what it's going to take, but I'm a huge, for not even the younger veterans, but the ones who are 100 years old that's been fighting for the longest of time.
Yeah.
They definitely need the support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something we can talk about offline at some point, right? Like, I don't know. It doesn't have to be. And I think a lot of times we get caught up in the biggest thing. It has to be the big thing that we're doing for the veterans, right? And it could be as the smallest of things that maybe we're collecting items or, putting them in touch with the right people. I don't know what that looks like, but I think, Kenneth, for someone like you that I think cares deeply about not only yourself, but how others are treated and how you're leaving spaces better and veterans, right? Like, I think maybe we can talk about something that we can
Yeah,
do, right? Like, it starts with somebody, right? And maybe it starts with us.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm all for anything to help others and I say leave them better than how we found them. I'm all for that.
To touch on what you said too, man, it's sad that you're a veteran, you're a TED Talk speaker, you're author, you've done all these amazing things, and we still have that fear of being pulled over as Black men, right? And it should never be like that. And again, it's not like we're doing anything illegal or doing anything just bad. It's just
Yeah.
we're in this society that we have to deal with this. And I hate that I have to explain that to my youngest son at some point. My oldest son already knows, we've had the conversation, but I'm going to have that conversation with him. And that sucks.
Yeah, it does. And then not only that, but I think it's easier saying it to another Black man than the general population, right? So when you say it
Yes.
to a white male or a white female or Hispanic, whatever, a non-Black person,
Yes.
you can say it, but I don't think you can really convey how it really feels to be like, man, I just want to feel normal. I just want to be able to go from point
Right.
to B, and I just don't feel it in my gut, right? So
Yes.
I have
Oh,
to be intentional about every decision I make because one wrong move and I'm on the news tonight, and I
yeah.
no intention of being. So it's very unfortunate, and all we can do is teach our young people, hopefully, how to move the way we're moving to see our age effectively.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly, man. So you talked about resiliency as more than a buzzword, right? And you've
Yeah.
actually had to live it, right? You've been super resilient. Um, what does real resilience look like for you when things aren't going well? And what are the maybe like tools that you maybe use to get yourself through something that's hard?
I think growing up in Fifth Ward, living in some of the worst neighborhoods in Houston, economically, great people, but just economically, we
Hmm.
lived poverty. Then going to the military and give me structure to still overcome some tough times. I think my mindset and my attitude, I think those two things is what set me apart from the average person, regardless of their
Mm,
race, regardless of their gender. I have been blessed with being able to witness great leaders and great people and kind people. And what I've noticed about them is their attitude about life, right? So,
okay.
and it's more grateful than anything. I can't think of anybody in my circle who seems entitled, like something is owed to them, right? So they wake
Right.
up full of gratitude. Okay, okay, I'm woke. I get another chance to do this. Great. Let me figure out how
Hmm.
to make the most of this day. You get to do that. It's not you're
Yes.
forced. So for me, resilience, that is, it's a buzzword. And just because you get through one thing, that's great. What's going to happen when the next three, four, five things come back to back?
Hmm.
That's resilience. And I'll just give you a prime example. I tell people all the time, 2024 was probably the hardest year for me professionally. I've been in the military since 1998, in aviation since 1998. I got promoted the first time up every time. Early promotes, you're doing amazing, blah, 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 blah. I made E5 in 3 years, which is pretty unheard of. Got out, started my nonprofit business in aviation, met the mayor, went flying with the Blue Angels, did all this amazing things in aviation, skyrocketing up. 2024 was my first time really making an effort to go to the airlines. And my dream was halted right there. So in aviation, as a pilot, if you get a black mark on your record, it's on there forever. So for 20
wow.
plus years, I'd never had a black mark or termination, anything on record. So the first time it happened was in 2024. And it was soul crushing, right? Because here I am, the poster child, the black pilot that's helping kids, and and then I hit this plateau, and then it not only happened once, but it happened twice. That alone was tough. My grandmother died right
Mm.
afterward. Then my second grandmother passed away.
Oh
So this
man.
all within months of happening, and then that my daughter, who's 26, she had 5 major surgeries for IBS. It was bad. Like I
Wow.
couldn't move. So that took me away from everything so I could focus on my daughter. After that, her mother passed away. So
Oh
this
man.
all, and this is within the last year. So this past Father's Day, my father had a stroke, and I had to go to another city in Houston, outside 8 hours away from Houston. And then while I'm there caring for my father, I found out my sister's been missing for 3 weeks.
Oh
So
boy.
all of these things, when I say took a toll on me, but I had to wake up every morning with a sense of gratitude because a lot of people
Mm.
didn't even wake up. But people only knew, right? So I didn't even share
Oh
it on
man.
media. I didn't share it with only the people really close to me knew. But it's like, how do you? My aunt asked me, how do you keep going? How do you keep pushing? It's my mindset and it's my attitude that I'm grateful to be because it's so
Mm.
much. Like at the end of the day, all these things are not going in my favor, but I'm grateful to wake up and at least have the opportunity to adjust more correct. So yeah, it's resilience is something, but anybody can.
Mm.
It's just mindset and having the right attitude towards.
Man, that's a powerful message, and salute to you for, getting through these things. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
obviously I just got to know you through Ethan.
yeah,
Shout out to
yeah,
Ethan
yeah.
for hooking this up. But yeah, that's powerful, man. And for you to still be grateful and still have that right attitude is truly amazing. As one black man to another, I just want to tell you, you have a space to speak with me about this as well. I think what I don't want for you, and I'm not throwing this on you. I don't know, right? I don't know the situation, but if you ever need an outlet to speak, right, and talk and just say, "Hey, man, I just need to lay this out on you," right? Know
Right.
that you have that with me, not having someone to just talk to, man. It doesn't even have to be therapeutic to like a therapist or anything like that. Just another man that you can say, "Hey, man, I went through these things. I'm struggling today. I just need somebody to listen,"
No,
and I want you to know that you have that.
no, I really appreciate that. That's priceless. It means a lot, man. I really will. And I'm probably gonna take you up on that too. So
No, absolutely do that,
yeah,
man, because as black men, too often we don't. We just carry it. We keep moving. I'm good. Yeah, yeah, I'm
yeah,
good, man. No, I ain't good. I'm not- I'm grateful, but I'm not
yeah,
good, right?
yeah.
Yeah, man. So listen, don't feel like you got to carry that weight by yourself, and I
No,
and
I
I think
appreciate
because we're so used to, like, you grew up in the Fifth Ward, and again, I think there's still that connection of, even like you being in Houston, me and being in New York, it's still a grind mentality, right? So we get up and it's like, yo, we gonna get it, we just gonna get it done, right? Because that's our attitude. Yeah, I know this is happening, that is happening. Still gonna get it done, right?
that.
But we still got to check in with ourselves to make sure we're able to pour out to the people that we want to give to, right? And
Absolutely.
I'll get off my soapbox after this. One last thing, because it's
Oh,
one thing that my coach Devin always used to tell me, right? When you have you have your coffee cup, and under that coffee cup you have a saucer that you put on there, right? Like, right. So what you want to do is you get your cup filled to the point where everything is falling into that saucer, right? And when everything is falling into that saucer, what people are pulling from is from the overflow, right? When they're pulling from the overflow, they're not pulling from that cup. So you're left empty. So I want to make sure that you're doing the things that fill your cup up. So when you have to run and do this for your dad and everything's going on with everything else, there's something left for you,
Yeah.
That's super important. You have to have something left for you. And if you don't do that, you're going to burn out and you're going to crash. And I don't want that for you.
I appreciate that, man. Absolutely. Thank you. I really do appreciate
No problem, man. And I share that one a lot with a lot of people because that's the one I think resonates with everybody because everyone can see the cup, everyone can see the saucer, right? You can see the overflow coming out and falling on that saucer, and you can see people pulling from that, right? And then your cup is still, I'm still good. I'm all right. They pulling from that overflow. I fill myself up to the point where I am okay. And just realize when your tank is low, what you need to do to fill that up. And that might be going to a movie or, might be writing something. You might be taking a flight, right? You might go and do something like that, right? But do the things that fill you up as well.
it. No, that's a great. No, I hadn't heard that one, but I definitely can relate. That's
Good, good. And yes, please take me up on that offer if you
all
need
right.
to. I
Cool.
mean that in seriousness.
All good.
I'm not just saying it for the podcast. I really
Yeah,
mean it.
I feel you. I feel you.
All right. All
Yeah.
right. So let's see where we're gonna go here. This has been good. I'm really enjoying this conversation.
Cool.
Let's go to theme number 2, where we're gonna say we talked about resilience. Right. Okay. So I know where I want to go now. So you made the decision that getting to the flight deck wasn't enough, right? When did you say it's not enough for just me, right? I need to see other people that look like me doing this.
I tell people all the time, I live in 2 different worlds, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I do live in the aviation world, and humbly and gratefully, I know quite a few people in aviation that know some other people in my network, and I have a
Mm-hmm.
pop name, and it's a great life. The issue comes when I live in my other world, where I'm still in the neighborhoods, I'm still in the communities, and I see the potential. I see what can be, but they can't see it yet because
Mm,
they're still in the same. Their daily process is the same. They're not really able to think outside the box and see themselves at an airline or flying in the military. But I understand why too, because they may not have had anything to eat last night. They may not have
mm-hmm.
they may witnessed something that they shouldn't have witnessed at a young age. They may have all kind of distractions, especially with technology now that we didn't have growing up. They're living in a different time than we did. So for
Yeah.
young people, it's like I'm at the airport here, and in Houston. Houston is a really big place. It's 20 miles from the inner city, right? So where I grew up. So my thought process is, how do I bring these 2 together? When the pilots come in, they're from Minnesota, Phoenix, wherever.
Mm-hmm.
They're not thinking about going to the hood to talk to kids about becoming pilots. And the kids in the hood don't even know that they're here. So me as the person who's the connector for both, how do I bring these 2 worlds together? Okay, let me get the students or the young people, the young adults, the parents. Let me bring y'all out to these private airports. Let me show you the world that I live in out here and open your mind up to these opportunities. So more often than not, they have a blast. And then it also allows the pilots who are from other places to really meet the culture of Houston. It's not
Yeah.
what you see on social media. It's not what you see on Facebook. And I mean, some of it is, but we really
Mm,
have great people here. We have really smart young people. So I just took it upon myself to say, how can I combine these 2 worlds, which, you know, I hadn't seen it done in that manner. So there was no rule book. I just reached out. Hey,
right.
I talking to some of my kids. Hey, y'all want to go out to the private airport? Let's make it happen here. I'm gonna provide the pizza and the drinks. Anytime there's pizza or food, people are coming. So
Yep. Yep.
that's how it started, and it's been, I've had countless young people join aviation. I don't necessarily push them towards the military, but we've had some go to the military as well. But just exposed to being mechanics, air traffic controllers, flight attendants,
Mm,
technicians, stuff that they wouldn't have known about, if they just stayed in the public school system. So that's
yeah.
that's kind of my driving force and what got me started.
Nice. Is there any of the kids that you know now are in aviation
Oh yeah, yeah. I have
that you stay
several,
connected to?
several.
Oh
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. All the time.
that's
Flying at
great.
United now. Some flying at American.
Wow.
Some are mechanics. But I've been knowing these kids since they were probably in the 7th or 8th grade. But now they're at the
Oh
airline.
man, that's amazing, man.
Yep, yep.
So you get to see that impact in real life, which is great. Like, because sometimes you
Oh
do
yeah,
these things and you might never know what the story looks like at the end.
absolutely, absolutely. And it's again, if I go out and speak at a big event, they may not come to me afterwards, but they'll send me a message via email or social media. Hey, I heard what you said, and I'm doing this now, and those are priceless, right? So
Yeah.
you can put a charge on what it would cost to go out and speak to however many people, but the real reward is when they either come to you afterwards, inspired by your story, they feel
Hmm.
motivated or whatever the case may be, or they send you a message afterwards and say, "Hey, look, these are the steps I'm taking." It's the part that's kind of I haven't quite accepted yet is when I hear young black boys, sixth, seventh, 8th grade or high school say, "I want to be like you," and I'm like, "Oh, you can be better than
Wow.
yeah, you can be better than me because I've made some mistakes. So let me show you how to be better than me. I have made some mistakes, man.
Let me help you avoid some of those
Yeah,
things, right? Right.
yeah. But you can be better than me, trust me. But yeah, those are the
When you hear that, that means you know you're doing something right, right? When people can see
absolutely.
that and say, "Yeah, man, I just want to be just like you." I tell my kids the same thing. No, you're gonna be a better version of me. It's just the main reason I never made either one of my sons juniors was because I didn't want them to feel like they had to be like me. Like that's not what I wanted. I wanted you to create your own path, your own name, and be
Yeah,
who you are supposed to be in this world. I fundamentally will give you the tools. Like I'll tell you the things, like you said, like the pitfalls, the things that I went through, the things that maybe you can avoid, and then give you the best qualities of what I think of from me to make you successful. And then you figure it out. You merge your worlds together, man. We all do it. Like I
yeah,
take some parenting from my mom that, sprinkled in with my own parenting, and that's how I parent my kids, right? So it's just come on, like keep moving it forward, man. So I think
yeah,
that's great. That's really
yeah,
great.
absolutely.
And you've been inspiring, man. So one of the things that you did was you created a coloring book. Like, what was the basis for that? Like, how did that come about? Like, talk
You
to me
know,
about and talk to me what it's
yeah,
about the coloring
yeah,
book.
yeah, actually, man. Yeah, so it's the coloring book.
Nice.
Yeah. It's funny because I never in my life thought about same thing about being a pilot. I never thought about taking a coloring book. It actually came on the heels in 2024 when I the second opportunity, my professor, I told you it was a rough year for me. Um,
Hmm.
and once I kind of had my second setback in aviation after 20 something years, I said, okay, let me catch my breath. Let me think of something to take me out of that mindset. And
Yeah.
I would still go
Yeah.
around talking to kids. A lot of people didn't even know how much it was eating me up inside. But I would go and talk to these young people. Usually my target demographic is, urban schools, middle schoolers and high schoolers for the most part. Because they're getting closer to that, having to make a decision for their careers.
Right.
So but I would go talk to young kids, but I just wouldn't have any. We play a couple games their first time seeing a pilot, which is cool, but I didn't have anything to lead with them. I was like, what if I create a coloring book that talked about more than, being a pilot is cool, but there are 25 other jobs that have to do their job for me to do mine. And what if I gave them the
Mm.
same recognition? So that's how I actually came up with the idea. And my degree is in computer information systems. So I'm really good with computers for the most part. Um, and then I got knowledgeable on AI when it first came out. And so I started just playing with a few programs and I was like, you know what? There's something here. So my thought process was let's discuss the 25 careers, put a title to each one, and then at the bottom, we'll say what each one does. These are career opportunities that people probably don't think about
Uh-huh.
and then I wrote it at a kind of middle school level so that everybody
Hmm.
could understand it. And the idea was for the kids to take it home to their parents. So you don't
Ah.
and so every picture in here, regardless of what page you turn it to, you're gonna find somebody in there that looks like us.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah. So and again, it's just give them something to color, and it's been a huge hit. Um, just showing them some different opportunities that they're just typically unaware of. So, and again, I didn't make it for Houston. I made it for really the entire country. And I've sold them in Los Angeles, Oakland. Yeah, people buy them online on Amazon. The ones that they buy from me directly, I make sure I sign with their Florida and Atlanta. So it helped me get through a dark period, you know.
Yeah.
It did, and the kids love them.
I'm gonna have to get one for my son. This is what I think makes it really great is that the dynamics of what makes you great as a pilot, right? All these things need to come together for you to fly, right? All these different components, all these parts, like the meteorologist, which I saw you put up there, right? And just I never really thought about it, right? Like, and even growing up, like I never thought of that as an opportunity for me, like a pilot or a mechanic, or I just didn't think of it. So, like, for you to think that much about it, where you have all the different jobs and not make it just about you, right? As a pilot, like, hey, man, you know what? There's a lot that goes into this. I want people to know these other jobs are available for them as well. It says a lot about who you are. Like, you're not leading with any type of ego. It's leading to leave places better, right? You're doing it in real life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely bigger than me.
No, it is, man. And you know what? I think whenever you make something out of love, even from a dark place, I think people can see that, right? And they gravitate to it. And I think you made this out of true love. Like, it was just like it was something that you thought was necessary. And I think that's great. Do you have plans for
Absolutely.
making
Absolutely.
like a part two of the cover book?
Yeah, yeah. So I have it in Spanish.
Ah,
Yeah. And so March of 27. So all women, this one is I did for Black History Month, and then the next one is gonna I have Spanish, then I'll have one that's collaborative to everyone. Yeah.
nice. All right. One thing I wanted to talk about is you were selected for a program that turned veterans into pilots, and you were the only Black candidate chosen. What do you want people to understand about what that moment meant, and what did it cost you to get there?
For me it was life changing, even more so. When I had that role, I was actually the director of education and outreach for a new $40 million flying museum in Houston, top tier. They hired the CEO, and I was the first person that the CEO hired. And
Wow.
they did some research. I had no idea, but I was the first Black person that this company had ever hired in 33 years. So
Wow.
I
Talk
was
about
already,
pressure.
right?
Jesus.
Yeah, it's the Lone Star Flight Museum. So I was already at this space. So I'm thinking, okay, this is where I'm probably going to retire. I
Right.
love this community. I got $40 million flight museum at my disposal. You know, everybody come see. And then I got selected for this program. So I was like, oh, I had a real decision to make. And,
Mm,
I loved what I did at the museum, hands down. But I knew if I didn't take this opportunity to accept this slot in this Force to Fly, it would never come again. And
yeah.
it come again. So you basically have to submit a super what's the word? It's just detailed application to get selected. So they had a couple thousand people, and I was one of the 7 they chose for Texas. So basically what it is, the biggest hurdle usually is the financial hurdle to becoming a pilot.
Hmm.
So what they told me was, hey, you're accepted to this program. Don't worry about any of the flight training costs. All we need you to do is move to this school and focus on flying. I'm like, what? So it's like
Wow.
$100,000. I was like, whoa, absolutely. So at that time, it was me and my son. And I told him, hey, look, man, I love you, but we're about to go experience something else, And he was like, all right, Dad. He wasn't tripping. So he actually was in high school at that time. Yeah, he was in high school. And we moved just north of Dallas, which was about 4 hours away from Houston. So it wasn't too bad. But I was just able to focus on flying. I didn't have to worry about paying anything out of pocket. hey, we just want you to fly. And when that happened, and I saw got in that space in that zone, no failed check rides, no failed tests. And I just proved to myself again that I could do this if I was
Mm.
put in the right space to do it. So yeah, after that, it's been, flying all around the country and so forth. But yeah, that's how I got my pilot license. And so unlike others who had to go get loans or
Yeah.
it takes much longer time, I was able to just focus on that like people focus on work.
Uh, did you feel a lot of pressure though, being just the only black man? Like, and this goes to what we were talking about, like having an outlet, right? And someone to talk to. Like, there's no one else in that building that really knows that experience, right? So how did you get through that?
Yeah, I tell people, I probably wouldn't have been able to get through it at 18. So
Mm,
being a little bit older helped me because I'd experienced more of the world.
yeah.
So that was definitely beneficial because a lot of the people there were younger, early 20s maybe. Um, so that was a big point. So I was the only black student there probably my entire time. They had a couple of black instructors, and this is another interesting part. So for my private license, the very first license, I had a black instructor, a guy by the name of Alan Norton. Still talk to him to this day. For my second,
Awesome.
third, fourth license, I had Indian instructors, but we were all dark
Oh, wow.
skinned, right? So my last
Yeah.
instructor, my guy I did my check ride with, he was African. So I don't know if it was intentional or not. I never asked. But my entire time there, I was doing most of my flying. 95% of my flying was with somebody. When I looked over, they were my skin complexion,
Ah.
right? Which is unheard of. It is unheard of. So I would take my test, though. I would take my test with white males. So they would
Mm,
get me all prepped. We go do all my flying. Kenneth do this is blah, 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 blah. But when I had to go take a test to actually pass to the next section, those were with white males. And
mm.
I was ready. I was more than ready. The way that hurt me ultimately was once I got to the airlines, it was the complete opposite.
Oh.
Most of my time was flying with people I hadn't flown with before. So it was a
Mm,
culture shock, you know? But
yeah.
yeah, so my story is interesting in a sense of when I look back on it now, um, there were a lot of lessons to learn, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't learn them until probably towards the latter part of it because I was so engulfed in but I wouldn't
Yeah.
trade it. I've learned so many valuable things to take forward, just make me a better pilot and a better person.
Yeah.
Ultimately, when it's all said and done. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like those experiences really just it shaped you in a really good way. And I agree. Sometimes you don't know the lesson until you out of it because you're so ingrained in getting the thing done, right? I got to get it done. I want to finish this, got to get it done. When you finally get it done and you're able to breathe, you're like, damn, that was some bullshit I went through that. You're like, yeah, right? You start really like come back like, man, you know what? Why not think about that, right? And then you be mad at yourself, like, man, I should have said something.
When you think about it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You start getting upset, man. But nah, kudos to you, man. I think the one of the things you also hit on the head was experience, right? I think experience is your greatest teacher, right? Like, and you
Oh
were
yeah.
seasoned by the time you got there, right? You said these guys are 20 years old, you're older, you've been through some things, so now you know how to navigate some of these challenges a little bit better. You know how to navigate the conversations, young and knowing it all, right? Like, man, you don't know half the story, young fella, right? You don't know nothing yet. Still wet behind the
Exactly.
ears.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, when you think of the word legacy, man, like, what does that mean to you? When I leave here, this earth, I want people to say that I left them better than I met them. Like, I truly treated people in a really good way. Like, I led with love, I led with service, and I just cared about people. I've always feel like, if nothing else, if I left everybody in a better space, then my job here was complete.
Well, I think you are spot on. I think that's admirable. 'Cause if we had more people like you, the world would not be what it is right now.
And you.
Yeah. So I commend you on that.
Kudos
But
to
yeah,
you. Thank
yeah. Thank you, man. I think mine is pretty much parallel and aligned with the same way you think. Is once we have a finite amount of time on Earth, right? And it's really small in the grand scheme of things. We don't really have a lot of time here. What do you do with that time? And
Yes.
I don't want to be the guy that's on a t-shirt for a week or two and then it's discarded. And, when people have a career, because pilots make millions of dollars, they're going to make millions throughout the career. When they go back and help somebody in their old neighborhood or kids who would normally not see them, I want them to be able to say, hey, man, this guy, Kenneth, he was the one who really made me believe in myself
Yeah.
or pointed me in the right direction when I needed it most. I didn't get a chance to tell them, but, and then that, helps somebody else. So for me, the
Yes.
legacy for me will just be remembered in a positive light, but also somebody that was authentic, because
Hmm.
when you work for these big companies and big airlines, I know personally that sometimes what pilots really want to say and what they say can be sent because they don't want to lose their job, right?
Right.
So I don't have that problem. I can, I can literally say whatever's on my mind, and I speak for them. So, I think that's how I want to be remembered as somebody that was just, genuine and authentic and really cared about others and just put them in position to be successful, even if it was a step ahead of me. I have no problem with
Mm,
that.
mm. That's it, brother. Like that. And that is right. Like, even if it's a step ahead of me, people leading with ego, right? And this, oh yeah, I want to train this person. Yeah, I want to be great. Wait, as long as he's not better than me. And I always look at that and I say, but listen, that is the greatest compliment you can have. If I've managed 8 people, right? And they all have gone on and did amazing things better than me, what does that say about you?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
What have you done? You poured into these people, they've done amazing things, but then you get people that's just like, no, he can't be better than me.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, so crazy to be Kenneth. I'll tell you, man.
That's, that's pretty
So
funny.
I got like 2 more questions for you, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
enjoy the rest of your Saturday, my brother.
Likewise.
Um,
Likewise.
what do you want the kid from the Fifth Ward, the one who hasn't been told yet that the sky belongs to them, what do you want them to take from your story? That kid that's there, like, and he feels like there's nothing for him, there's no hope. What do you want him to take from you?
Um, Good question. Don't be afraid to step out there. Don't be afraid to leave our community.
Mm,
um, I tell people often one of the best experiences I had was in the Middle East, the way that people treated me.
wow.
It was easier for me to catch a cab than my white counterparts. Everywhere I went,
Wow.
hey brother, you
Wow.
need anything? Yeah, yeah. But if you look at the media here and whatever's on the media, whatever channels, they'll have you thinking that everybody over there just wants to kill us. That's
Mm,
not really how it works. When I'm physically there, when we're off base, I have the issues that people assume I would have as an
mm,
African American man. They really want to help. They really want to see you get from point A to point B, and it's genuine, and you can feel it's genuine. So that was my experience in the Middle East, in other places too. And it was also the opposite. When I went to Italy, I didn't get that kind of love.
mm,
So I would just tell any young person, especially out of Fifth Ward or these places where we don't get to experience much, don't be afraid to leave your safe space and go
mhm.
explore and talk to people and really meet people and learn these cultures, because it's mind blowing. It's really mind blowing. It'll change your whole perspective. And then from there, the world just opens up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
So
great
that's
piece of advice, man. And I think a lot of us get caught up in the box of what our world looks like, right? And that, to me, is the biggest detriment to learning. I think how you
oh
learn
yeah.
is getting outside of your box, meeting other people, exposing you to other things, right? And like even food, right? Like different foods, right? You know, clothing, like lifestyle, like how they're living, like you it just exposes you to other things. And now you're thinking, like you said, now the world becomes this big thing. Like, you know what? I don't have to stay in New York, right? Like I can live anywhere. And I tell my oldest son that a lot because he travels more than I ever did at his age. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he is all over
Right.
the place. And I love it. I love it from him. And I always tell him, man, like, live wherever you want to live. Obviously, I want you close because I want to be able to see you as often as I can because I love him. He's a great, great young man. But I also want to live a life that makes sense for him, not for me, right? It has to make sense for him, you know, where he wants to raise a family at, you know, things like that. So you can't do that if you're stuck in just what your environment is in that box. You only can do that,
Yeah.
like you said, by going out and doing it, right? Don't and do it scared, like you said earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I just don't have regrets. That's, as I sit here and think today, it's like, what do I regret not doing? And it's not too much. It's not too much. And it's still things that I anticipate doing, that I'm
Yeah,
excited about. Currently, I don't think it's too much I regret that I didn't at this point. Yeah.
nice. So when you hear the phrase "leave it better," what does that mean to you?
Um, the first thing I think of, and it could be a cultural thing, right? So whenever we would have the opportunity to go to our uncle's house, go to a hotel or go somewhere, our parents would always say, "Leave it better than how you found it," right? Or clean
Right.
up after.
Clean up after yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the on how early I heard the phrase "leave it better," and it started kind of
Mm,
clicking. Leave it better, okay? And maybe they didn't wash the window, but we're gonna wash it before we leave. You
mm,
know, we want this place to be better than how we found it. We want this person to be better than how we found them. So, for me, what I give is, even though I'm human and I have a range of emotions like everyone else,
hmm
I try to make sure I pour into people, not what's the word? I don't want to just walk around all day pouring into people that's not asking for it. You're right.
Right.
But if we come across each other and have meaningful dialogue, I want you to feel like either you can do something that you hadn't thought about doing, you're inspired, or you're out of your funk, whatever the case may be. And I actually, Victor Glover, the guy who flew around the moon, a friend of mine, right? And I got a chance to see him talk to people and how he engages people and
Mm,
just his normal self. He would be a prime example of leaving it better, right? I've never seen him speak negatively or try to diminish a person's capabilities. If anything, he heightens them. I remember I brought high school
mm.
kids, and one of them said they want to be an astronaut. He literally stopped and laid down the path for this young person to become an
Wow.
astronaut. Didn't know this kid from anybody, but
Mm,
I think that's how you leave it better. Because if you never cross paths with me again, if you have a glimpse of our conversation or a glimpse of our meeting, or you hear me when I'm speaking and in the crowd, like, you know what, I didn't get a chance to meet him in person, but I remember he said, I can literally be whatever I want to be. So I'm going to go be an
yeah.
artist. I think that's what leaving it better is. And it's no reward for it. I think that's just who you naturally are. If you're
Mm,
doing it for a reward, then kind of pointless because you're not going to always get that reward. But if you wake up and say, you know what, I want to leave my children, my family, my friends, or even complete strangers, you know, if they had the chance to experience time with me, I want it to be a positive memory, something that they can build on. So I think that's what it means to leave it better.
love it, man. That's powerful, powerful stuff. And I'd even think about that in my childhood. Like it did kind of start with that. You're absolutely right. And yeah, that's what I envisioned it, right? And this is why I started it, right? Like there's the chance that somebody comes across this interview and they get something from it, right? And I say, I don't care if it's one thing, one line that resonates with somebody and they watch it and be like, man, that part right there hit home for me, right? And that's why I wanted to do this, not only just for that, but for the legacy of my children, for my dad who wasn't left better. I wanted something that far outlives me, and serves a purpose for other people, right? And I think your story is super inspirational, and I think it will serve somebody. I don't know if it's today, I don't know if it's 3 years from now, but I
Yeah.
think it's going to resonate with some black kid out in the Fifth Ward or black kid out here in New York, and they're gonna be like, "Man, I never thought about being a pilot, man, and now I have an idea of what that looks like," and
Yeah.
that's kudos to you.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you providing a platform, people who get into your space, you know, doing interviews or podcasts, it may be a monetary thing or it may be an ego driven thing, but I feel like you genuinely want to help people and share those stories that help somebody else other than yourself. So I appreciate that. So thank you for that.
Thank you for noticing, man. I appreciate that. Before I let you go, I want to make sure you get to plug all of your stuff. So tell people how to get in contact with you, the book, the coloring book, anything else you want to, leave people with.
Okay, I appreciate it. Yeah. So on social media, I'm Aviator for the People, AV, the number 8, the letter R, the number 4, the people. And that's literally the handle I chose because that's who I am.
Mhm.
If I'm somebody that just wants to become an airline pilot, what happens next? You become an airline pilot
Right.
and you just do that. And I think it's more than that. I love flying and it's something I had to get exposed to. So my biggest thing is to be the mentor that I needed when I was growing up. Be that person that can open up doors for others. So I tell people all the time, if you really want to discuss opportunities that you're just unaware of, or you want my insight, emails, Sir Kenneth Morris at gmail.com. I have a business line, 832-293-2806. 832-893-2806. I apologize. My apologies. But yeah, and I'm available because a lot of times you'll meet pilots, and being a pilot is a challenging career to learn how to fly airplanes. It's not easy, but once
Right.
you get there, you're good. And the problem that I saw that I was trying to fix was once you start making $300, $400, $500 an hour, you tend to forget about the people that don't have
Mm,
$500.
right.
Right? So you're living in this bubble. You're living in this world where money is the least of your concerns, traveling all over the world, but you're not making time to give back. When
Mm,
a lot of pilots I know come from humble beginnings. So why not bring somebody up with you while you're achieving these things and show them how to do it? And they can be a force multiplier. And who knows what could
yes.
happen. And I tell people all the time, I'm not an anomaly. I'm not the smartest person in Fifth Ward. The reason I made it was because somebody came, provided mentorship, provided exposure, gave me access to the airplanes, and from there I just ran with it. Right.
Mm,
So I think if more people did that once they got to a certain level, came back and were intentional about helping others, I just think it would be like compounded. I just think it will be a huge difference, even if they don't become pilots. They're not going to jail as much. They're not shooting each other. They're not fighting. They're not doing takeovers, doing these things
hmm
that's, making no money from that, man. Like, let's get serious about our future. So
Yes.
my focus is, that's what my mission is. I'm blessed to have airplanes to do it with. And I don't take that lightly. So anything I can do to help anybody, Houston, New York, California, Florida, Seattle, I'm open to helping.
Nice, man. And how do I get the coloring book?
Uh, you can, it's on Amazon. I don't sign those
Okay.
on Amazon. Go straight from Amazon to, um, they go straight from Amazon to the buyer. But if you text the word book to 832-893-2806, then the link is sent right there, and then you can order from there. And then I'll have it signed and mailed to you from there, directly from
Oh,
me.
okay. So I'm gonna want a signed copy. So that's what I'm gonna go through. I want the
got
signed one.
I got your number. I'll send you the link. That'll be no problem.
Yeah, yeah. So that way I can tell my son. I know him personally. You know what I'm saying? Got it signed.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back up. Like I say, I've been flying a bit, so I'm gonna go on a really big media run here pretty soon. Big push. I'm trying to get Breakfast Club, man. I got to get me a publicist or something, man, so I can get out to New York.
That's what we need, man. Listen, I don't know if I'm gonna get you on the Breakfast Club, but at least this is a step in the right direction of some marketing, right?
You
I can't promise you that, but at least you out there. You on the podcast.
It starts here, though. When I get on there, I'm gonna tell them about you. I will tell them about this.
I believe. You know what? And I believe you. I believe you.
Yeah.
You know, there's some people that say it, and there's some people that do it. You do both.
Yeah,
you want like if you got the opportunity, you'll be like, hey, my man Dwayne, let me tell you about this podcast. We'll go.
I'm telling you, that's where it started.
But that's it though, man. I know we're supposed to get over. That's it, right? I had this conversation with a potential client yesterday that from my regular 9-to-5, and I told her the beauty of really great relationships is you become an extension of me, I become an extension of you.
Yeah.
When an opportunity presents itself on my side for you, and it's like, oh shoot, Kenneth does that, right? You've become my extension, right? And vice versa. So I really feel like you saying that like really resonates because I literally just talked to her about this yesterday. And I told her no matter what happens business wise with me and her, right? I was just like, the relationship, I wouldn't trade that for nothing, right? This is a great relationship. So if you don't want to do the business with me, absolutely fine. But I love what you're doing anyway. I will support it. Let's just continue to move forward together. So that's great. And I appreciate you saying that.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. No, this was great, man. I enjoyed it. Like I say, anything I can do to support.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. I thank you again, Kenneth, for your time, especially on a Saturday. I know you're busy as a pilot, so for you to find the time to sit down and talk and really, share your message with the viewers, I think has been amazing. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, man.
Thank you for listening to Leave It Better. I'm Dwayne Daniels, and my hope is that today's conversation gave you a little more peace, a little more hope, and a reminder that how we show up still matters. If this episode spoke to you, please share it with someone who might need it. And remember, when you leave it better.